Friedrich Nietzsche, chapter 4. Once he has taken this step, Nietzsche assumes the Herculean task of sweeping away all the cherished traditions of European thinking. He examines the meaning of history, politics, war, revolutions, human rights, education, and the ultimate meaning of life and death. The sluice gates are open, and there are no inhibitions to his destructive attacks. Nothing can bar him any longer from weighing the old values and destroying the sacred tables in the entire field of civilization. He, the admirer of Greek antiquity, feels no restraint before history. The revolutionist is always ahistorical. It had become an accepted philosophical principle that history was God's own handiwork. The historian Ranke had solemnly stated that every nation was a specific thought of God's creative will. But Nietzsche saw in history nothing but a succession of events without underlying laws. Schopenhauer had defined the world and its forces as manifestations to the will to power. Oh, dang. But Nietzsche did not hesitate to declare history, quote-unquote, brutal and senseless. Hegel's optimistic idea that man's history is an ascending design of progress he held to be absurd. Man as a species has not made progress. Our general education and democracy have merely smothered the influence of the truly single ones who carried the burden of progress. From now on, the quote-unquote breeding of a better, higher, and more aristocratic type must be the aim of education. So Nietzsche wrote 70 years ago in a style very similar to that of Dostoevsky's Grand Inquisitor and the conspirators in The Possessed. Only 40 to 50 years were to elapse before Europe was to witness, in the triumph of dictatorships in Russia, Italy, and Germany, that man is anxious to kneel down in submission before anyone with the real will to power. The new commanders must have the strength to live without God. They will also have to renounce all happiness, since they are going to be lonely men. While imposing their will upon the people, they are nevertheless dependent on them, but will at the same time continue to live in aristocratic detachment and aloneness. The military relationship between officer and man will have to serve as a model for the future leader. Both are linked together by a higher ideal, whereas the present industrialist and his workers are nothing but opposing rivals without a common goal. The industrialist as a moneymaker cannot belong to a higher race. The future nation will give an honorarium to the worker, not wages. The state will rule everybody's thinking. It will become the quote-unquote new idol.